Welcome to the Whiskey Jug, the only whiskey show on the internet with police helicopters hovering right above. My name is Josh, and today we are doing the last glass review of the Jura 10-year single malt whiskey. Now, I've complained a lot about corks in the past, and you know you're a little bit in trouble when it does this. Not exactly a tight seal, but we're here to talk about the whiskey and not that. The Jura 10 is the entry-level whiskey that comes to us from the Isle of Jura, which is off the coast of Scotland. It's its own little island that is rather hard to get to. It's a kind of remote, out of the way place, but up there they make a variety of different whiskeys, some of which are named after things like prophecy and superstition. And they just did one they released called Brooklyn, where they had a partnership with some folks up in New York, and they do some interesting whiskeys. But their young stuff, I'm not a big fan of. I've had some of their older stuff. I even had one of their accidental, the peated one that was put a little while. And that was actually pretty good. And some of the older Juras that are also pretty good. But this stuff, I haven't been too big of a fan of. The superstition, all right, not too bad, but it just kind of comes across a little lackluster, especially this 10. And I mean, you can see the original review, which is, as always, linked in the comments or right above if you're on the site. But yeah, we'll just get right into it because I'll explain it through the whiskey. It has this funky malt kind of quality to it. It's got a sulfury funkiness to it, like they use bad malt or something. Like it just, something happened to it that it does not come across as very fresh. It has kind of a weird funk to it, and it's just weird. Some vanilla, some honey, and there's like this strong cumin to it as well. So you got almost BO kind of smelling cumin aroma to it. Another note that I have is dying flowers. If you've ever taken flowers, put them in a vase, and just kind of, they're on, the flowers are coming, the petals are coming off, and the water's turned murky, and there's kind of this like decaying funk to it. This has got some of that in there. There's some like charred citrus, caramel syrup, the butter popcorn jelly belly. Like there's a little bit of that in there, but over time, like it started out with some of those sweeter notes a little bit higher up, but they kind of faded a little bit, and the funkier notes have come up just a little bit more. It's something where it's become, just a little funky, and I can't say I'm too big of a fan of it anymore, as much as I was before. I mean, wasn't a big fan to start with. Come on, let's be honest. So on the palate, there's this same kind of dark funkiness to it. Like this weird fruitiness, some citrus peel, definitely some vanilla in there. That's a common thread that runs through, is some vanilla. There's this light chocolatey kind of flavor to it, and Smarties, like the little roll candies, Smarties, and there's this dark earthiness inside of it as well that just kind of sits at odds with everything else. The finish is actually the best part of this whiskey, think of it or not, but cinnamon, some kind of milky cocoa kind of notes, a little bit woody, and that cumin has also comes back on the finish and kind of lingers a little while, and it kind of builds as it keeps going, as you keep drinking it. And yeah, I mean, this is just not one of my favorites. It hasn't changed too horribly much while drinking through it, but the one thing that has happened, just like I said, are those funky notes, those darker notes that have kind of moved up a little more. The cumin's gotten a little bit stronger. The funky malty quality has gotten a little stronger, and Originally, I'd rated it as a 79, but after reading back the notes and having this, I really don't have any choice but to drop it down to a 78. It just kind of gets funky, and it's not something I really enjoy too much. I did try in a couple of cocktails, and it was really good in those. I did a Churchill, it was really good in that. Did a Rob Roy, it was all right in that. Tend to like blended scotches in Rob Roys. For some reason, it seems to the vermouth seems to add just a nice little layer of sweetness that cuts out some of the grain alcohol notes that kind of mellows things out. But anyways, it's did all right in that, but it worked really well for cocktails. But not something I'd ever buy again. It just really didn't do it for me. So with that, this is the Whiskey Jug. I'm Josh. Jura 10. Cheers.